I'm going to love the ones I'm with. I'm with you guys right now. Welcome to our Sunday gathering. We're so happy to have you here today. To all of our friends in Canada, North America, United States, we set our clocks ahead. So what's typical with this first Sunday service when this happens is we get a lot of people that show up 1 hour late. Imagine such a thing. You know, we do our best to send reminders and it gets very confusing. But today and the next two following Sundays, it's 1 hour early again to our friends who are in Europe, the UK, New Zealand, Australia, and then we'll take it week by week as we go on. A warm welcome to you. We're so glad you're here. Again, our friends, Carrie and Phil, they are caravanning the world. They are in New Zealand and Australia right now. I'm so pleased, though, to be joined by my dearest friend, Darren Wynn, and good friend, Mitch Shirley. His other half, Kath, it's her birthday today. So we send her a very, very happy birthday. It's Mothering Sunday in the UK. So if you are celebrating and you're a mom, we wish you the very, very best of days. In the rest of the world, we do it in May, but we can take two opportunities to acknowledge the people that we love. We certainly can. Speaking of which, love the one you're with. That's the theme we have today. And it's meant to, like the first song, accentuate the positive. Doesn't it seem like in life, we can always pick apart something that's wrong with ourselves and what's wrong with our lives, and things aren't working on any particular day, maybe with the people in your life, but what would it be like if we did a 180-degree turn and we paid gratitude and love, self-love, love to others, really had that unconditional love, like we could see through a pair of glasses that was just unconditional love. So that's our theme today. Mitch, Darren, and I will be sharing in the address. And it is whatever they feel in their heart, whether it's Mothering Sunday, whether it's our theme. We'll just see how the spirit world moves us. But let me tell you our lineup for today. We will have Mitch, who will be doing our opening prayer. He will also be the first one after the healing song to start us off with the address, followed by Darren and then myself. Mitch is so kind. He will be doing our demonstration of mediumship today. My pal, Darren, he will be second in line doing the address. He will be doing our words for the week and then also our closing prayer. And for me, I get to do the announcements. I'll be doing the reading, I'll be doing the healing, and I'll be third to go for the address. And of course, I'm all about the behind the scenes, playing the music, etc., and so forth. So wherever you are in the world, whatever brought you here to our Sunday gathering today, we welcome you, and we're really, really grateful that you're spending some time with us. So if I could turn it over to Mitch for the opening prayer.
Thank you, Sandra. Infinite and ever-loving Father, you have gathered us together this day to come together as a community of souls bound by the Spirit. For each of us is touching another through that link of the Spirit, that infinite aspect within all of us, that power source, that droplet that is divine within. And Father, in that binding us together, you can bring the best from us. You can help us to enable the soul that is the expression of who we are to be the best that it can be. We all have lessons to learn. We all come together as one today to be of service for each other and for the greater world that we live within. And beyond that, the complete and entire universe. For we are all part of some unfolding plan, divine in nature, devised through perfection, through you, the master architect of all. So, Father, let us know that no matter what is put in our way, there is always a purpose. There is always something that we can benefit from it, no matter how tragic, no matter how overwhelming it may be at the very moment of impact upon our soul. Let us know that we have that infinite ability within us. We have the ability to create. You gave this to us as a gift, to create on this earth, heaven on earth. So let us know that we can be about this work, that we can generate positive differences through our endeavors, but always remembering to come back to that divine within when we feel our wings have been clipped a little. It may have darkened a little. Let us bring that light that is within us to shine into the darkness, to illuminate the way for our soul to unleash its true potential upon this world, for us to bring about a change in positivity of love and kindness, and for us amongst all to know that we are loved for who we are. We thank you, Father, for this opportunity. Amen.
Thank you so much, Mitch. All right, you have myself for the reading, and we're going to do something high tech today. Ready? I'm going to share my screen. I don't do this too much, but you should be able to see something that says the gratitude tree. All right. It is a children's book, and yes, I am going to read to you. Okay, here's the gratitude tree by Stacy Peters. Once there was a tree on a hill, enjoying the warm spring breeze. There was nothing special about this tree, really. He was just an ordinary tree with dull green leaves. Sadly, nobody paid much attention to this ordinary tree. Suddenly, a bird landed on the tree and asked if she could build a nest in his branches. Why would you want to build a nest in my branches? I'm just an ordinary tree with dull green leaves. Nobody pays attention to me, replied the tree. Yes, said the bird, but you have very strong branches. Well, I guess I do have very strong branches, said the tree. I am grateful for that, continued the tree. And just as he said it, one of his leaves turned a beautiful pink with orange stripes. Would you look at that? Said the tree. I wonder how that happened. And it isn't even fall. And just as he said it, one of his leaves turned, I read that, beautiful pink with orange stripes. As the bird began to build her nest, the tree thought to himself, I'm pretty lucky to be a tree selected as the home of new baby birds. Just then he noticed another leaf turn a bright purple with gold lines. He looked back at the first leaf. It reminded him of his strong branches. Then he looked at the newly purple leaf. It reminded him of the bird's nest. The tree began to feel a little better about himself. Later on that day, as he was watching a boy swing from a tire swing, he smiled inside and thought how nice it was to have someone keeping him company. Another leaf turned a bright orange with yellow stripes, and the tree was beginning to see the connection. Have you figured it out yet? Yes, I am talking to all of your inner children. The more he thought of good things, the better he felt. The better he felt, the more he thought of good things. He just couldn't help himself. And by the time the sun was about to set, all of his leaves had turned beautiful colors. The next day, all the tree had to do was to look at his leaves, and he was reminded of all the wonderful things in his life. This kept him happy, and his leaves stayed beautiful colors. He was no longer an ordinary tree. He was a bright and colorful tree who was admired by everyone who passed by. He thought that all the attention would make him happy. He had always wanted more attention, but he discovered something new. It wasn't being bright and colorful that made him the happiest. It was thinking about all the things he was grateful for. This was the secret to happiness. This page is duplicate, but he says, that's the secret of happiness. I'm going to tell all my friends. What do you think the little bird said? And let's not forget about the role of the little bird in this story. Sometimes a kind word can turn a person's whole day around. If you are grateful for a person or something someone did, be sure to tell him or her. You might just change their whole day too. And what was it the little bird said to make the tree feel better about himself? He told the tree that he had good, strong branches. Now, this is written for children, but of course we can each make our own gratitude tree, and we can each make little leaves and write what we're grateful for on each one of them. But let the tree be a reminder to you each time you pass it to have an attitude of gratitude, which will bring you happiness to your life. All right, so I'm back. Why did I pick a children's book? One, I was looking for a story, and then I thought this children's book came up, and if I was with you and I had the book, I would turn it and show you the pictures, and I thought this is the closest we can get. We all do have that inner child, and I'm grateful that this lady wrote this book to teach children at a very young age the importance of gratitude. And as you'll hear in our address today, it is vital. It is so important. But by human nature, we truly do look for the negative. I mean, there's been studies out about that. So we have to look for the positive in people, places, things, ourselves, our lives. So I thought it'd be cute just to read you that kid's book. And if you can think of some reminders to put in your life about being grateful, do it. Little post-it notes or something like that. We're going to go into our healing song now. Most of the songs that I'm playing today are old. This one's not so old, but it reminds me of a time in my life that you had as well. And that was in 2020, when it was difficult to look for the good. We were all housebound. We had this virus around the world. We were all living in fear, but we had to look for the good. That's the name of this song. And it was recorded by Jason Mraz and his band while they were in lockdown. But the words of this song are so powerful, and they just got me in the right place. And I thought it might make a difference for you too. So we're going to listen to the song, and then we'll head back over to Mitch for part of the address. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. And for those of you, as has been mentioned, today's Mothering Sunday. And it's something that my mum told me on Friday when I was doing some work at her house, that I was not to come on Sunday because it's Kath's birthday. And she knew that the children, our children, had arranged to take Kath in particular. I was just going along as excess baggage. To take her out for a meal. And we've been, and Mum says, well, you've got to do that and this, that, and the other. I said, right, okay, Mum, all right. I said, but, you know, one of the things you always said about me is I've never paid attention to anything and done what everybody else thought I should do. I've always done my own thing. So I'll see you on Sunday. So this morning, and quite typical for me, this is a classic example of where my head is at the moment. I took the flowers, a lovely bouquet, which one of my daughters had got for me yesterday on Saturday. And just as I pulled into the drive, I went, oh yeah, I could see the card in our bedroom addressed to my mum. And I said, I forgot your card. And she laughed because I regularly forget keys to get in her house, which I brought with me this time. I got the keys, but I forgot the card. But I wanted to make that effort, and it's about making that effort to be in that moment for people that you care for. It's easy to say, oh, okay, I won't do it. I won't be a part of it. So that's one aspect that has been coming through my mind, and also the fact of the actual theme, love the one that you're with. And yesterday the thought came to me in that, you know, we're all different versions of ourselves throughout our life here. And it is important that we love the one that we're with, which is the version that we are at this present moment. It's so easy to go back to what I could do, what I didn't do. And I also got showed a photograph from '96. And this photograph was me when I was playing rugby. I was 30 years of age. As my kids said, with all the dark hair, more of it, all the darker eyebrows, and the shoulders that were a little bit wider. You look like a Greek god, Dad, with all this black hair, because though you come from the Mediterranean. And then it struck me, that photograph was taken the last time that I played at the top level that I played at. That was the photograph before the game. And shortly after that, I had an industrial accident and I didn't work for over 3 years. So you never know what a moment can capture, but it's about that attitude. And I learned to love the fact that I had the years to do that I was so fortunate to have that. And it was many years later that I found I got myself fit again and I decided I was going to play. And obviously Kath's done this many times. She questioned my sanity because I was going to play with 3 discs out of my back. And she says, I know you won't play like the 30-year-old. You know, you'll have to be even better than that. And you're 39 now. So you can't do it. Okay, I can't do that, but I can do it in a different way. That doesn't mean that I still can't get pleasure and enjoyment out of doing something just because I can't do it in exactly the fullest of ways. I have to accept that the physical body diminishes, but I as a person, as a soul, I evolve. And this week, all the things that have been relevant have happened this week. And that song summed it up, because the issues that have been going on in this local area regarding providing a home for children, and people are fearful because these children they're classed as special needs, emotional behavioural needs, and they could be teenagers. And I said, I don't know any teenager that's not had any emotional needs. I don't know any human being that's not had any emotional needs, that has found it difficult to express. And some are in their 70s, 80s and 90s and still find it so difficult to express what they feel. They are disabled by their inability to change, to find love in their heart, to not allow fear and the darkness to come in. That has been a challenge for me this week, because the dark thoughts come with it. The negativity of people, the fear. It's always easy to allow fear into our lives. But if we do the best that we can, then we have to wait. Because we can't change what we're not able to change. The one thing we can change is our attitude, and that's ours. No one else's, it's ours. So the attitude of gratitude makes a difference. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mitch. And who knew that Mitch was a rugby player? You can see it in his body, can't you? Every Sunday when we have these themes and when you're going to do a talk or whatever it may be, you always brush your mind throughout the day about what you're going to talk about, how are you going to start, where are you going to start, all these kind of thoughts go through your head. And this morning I was running around doing some errands and I had the theme of the love the one you're with and being grateful for what you have on what, no, don't focus on what you don't have. So I was driving down the road and I was thinking to myself, where do I start? What do I do? But you always find somehow, somewhere, it kind of pops up out of nowhere, the place you least expect it. And I popped into my local Starbucks, as you do for your morning coffee, because anyone that knows me, I can't start the morning without a proper coffee. So I popped in there. I've been going there for a number of years, and I've got to know the manager through going there. We always have a conversation and what have you when we go in there. So I picked up my coffee. We're still at the end of the counter having a conversation, and I can't remember how we started, but it went on. And she said, "I've just had a big operation. She's got cancer. She's just had a massive operation." And I looked at her. I said, "And when did you have this?" She goes, "6 weeks ago." I said, "Why are you here?" Knowing the full, the scale of the operation she's just had. She goes, "Oh, I came back to work 3 weeks ago." I said, "Why?" She goes, "Well, I'm not in pain. I'm happy. I want to, be with people, talk to people, etc., etc." And she said, "I've got another operation to go in for in a few weeks' time. She's got to have another part done as part of her operation." I said, "Now, how long are you going to be off for then?" She said, "Oh, a couple of weeks." She said, "At the end of the day, if I feel okay and I want, and I want to get out and about and do stuff and interact, I'll do it." And I came away and I thought, oh my, how many people do we know that are like that? And it kind of got me thinking to my own life, and about being grateful for what you have, and, forget what you don't have, sort of thing. And I thought, actually, that happened to us a while back, not obviously medical wise, but I know we all go through hard times. Life can be tough. It can be very tough. And like Mitch said, sometimes it's your attitude. We're responsible for our attitude. And it's how you deal with things that come up within your life. And I know a few years back, myself and Scott had a hard time to go through, financially, emotionally, family-wise. And we ended up working sort of 15-hour, 16-hour days. It was long, it was hard, but we've done it. And we very often look back and think, look what we've been through and look what we've accomplished. That's our own personal thing. And we think, do you know what? We could have just given up. It was hard, it was tough. We could have just given up, sat back and thought, do you know what? The government can help us out. They can bail us out. They can pay our bills. And the sad reality is, I know it may sound controversial, but a lot of people do that. They find things a bit tough, a bit hard. They give up. Sit back, let everyone else deal with it. Let someone else do, whatever it may be. Let someone else help me. Let someone else sort my problems out. And I thought, you know what? That's something I could never do. Like I said, life can be tough, life can be hard. But like Mitch talked about, it's your attitude to that life, to that moment, to how you survive and how you get through it. And I look back, and even with, Sally, I spoke to in Starbucks earlier, many years down the line, hopefully she'll look back at what she's gone through and how she did it. And that's what gives us life experience. That's what allows us to tell our stories and tell our truth and what have you. And when you listen to, and I always go back to the older folk during the war, etc. If you look at some of the old people during the war, the amazing stories they have, what they went through, how they did it, how they coped, how they managed. And we sit and think, oh my, how did you do that? We couldn't even dream of doing that nowadays. But if you think back then, they didn't have all these luxuries. They didn't have it made easy for them. I think sometimes in today's world, things are too easy. They're made too easy. And I think sometimes when we go through the tough times and the tough moments, like I said, it's what makes us into who we are today. If you look at all of us, and if you think back in your own lives, think back, to your childhood. And like Mitch said, what teenager hasn't gone through some kind of upset, trauma, or what have you? And if you think back now, how has that changed you? How has that molded you? And I know in the UK it's Mother's Day. And I went and saw my mother earlier before I came online. And it kind of gets you thinking, these people in our lives have made us who we are today. And it is very easy. There is a lot of negativity. Like Mitch said, there's a lot of negativity out there. And there's sadly a lot of negative people. And if we listen to them all, the world can be a very dark place. If we allow ourselves to get sucked into that vacuum of negativity, think where the world would be today. I mean, I consider myself quite a positive person. I'm not saying I'm happy and smiling 100% of the time. I try to, but it doesn't always happen. But do you know what? When bad things happen within our lives, or we hit that stumbling block or that hurdle, me and Scott always look at each other and we say, we've got through worse. And it's true. When I hear people talking about how bad their life is and, what they're going through and blah, and I always say, do you know what? There's worse off people in this world than you are. When we look at some of these poor people in these countries where there's wars going on and what's happening within their lives and within their families, nobody would ever dream of being in that position. And sometimes we have to be reminded when we sit or you hear people moaning about their lives, oh, I haven't got enough money, or I've got to work extra hours. That's trivial. When you see in the grand scheme of things what's going on in the world, to me, that's trivial. And sometimes I have to use that analogy myself. I have to look at what's going on around the world to kind of put my life in perspective. And actually, it makes me grateful for what I have and for what I've been through. Yeah, it's been tough. It's been hard. Nobody wants to work 16, 17-hour days non-stop. But do you know what? It's made me who I am today. It's got me to where I am today. Would I choose to do that? No, I wouldn't. But do you know what? Sometimes needs must. And I'd rather do that than burden other people with my issues, my problems. Like Mitch said, it's all about the attitude and the gratitude. But within that, you have people around you that help you get through these moments. You have friends like Sandra and Mitch. You have family, you have partners, even your pets. How many times have you had a bad day? It's been tough, life is hard, and you sit down and your little furry friend jumps upon your lap. They know when you're feeling down or depressed or what have you, and they bring a smile to your face. No matter what you're going through, they're always there to love you unconditionally and bring that smile to your face. But like I said, the people around you, and I think, we have to love the ones we're with. And when I say love the ones we're with, love them in this moment, today, not tomorrow, not the next day. Because life is hard, life is cruel. You never know what's going to happen, tomorrow or the next day. And I'm sure we've all been in that scenario where we've lost loved ones over the years, and we didn't expect it to be so quick or so sudden. So my advice to you guys would be, seize every opportunity, make the most of every moment, and don't leave it till tomorrow. Do it today, because tomorrow may never come. And I'll hand you on to Sandra.
Thank you very much, Darren, and thank you, Mitch. I love being with you guys. Before the Sunday gathering began, and there was just a handful of us here on our Zoom webinar, I was looking at the screen, you guys were looking at me, and I said, oh, what can we talk about? And Marilyn typed in how to deal with skeptics. And a couple days ago, I recorded a new podcast episode, be out on the 22nd of March, which will be just about dealing with skeptics. And it's a panel of doctors, scientists, neuroscientists, all discussing skeptics, people like Dr. Eben Alexander and others. There are two kinds of skeptics. We've got the good kind of skeptics, which I think is us. We're open-minded. What's possible? I don't know if all of us started this journey believing in the afterlife. You may be on the journey. I know I was at that time, I thought a closed-minded skeptic. I knew better. I knew better than anybody. We don't go on. Nobody's got any proof. That's closed-minded. By different things that happen to us, we can become open-minded, whether it's an illness we have a loved one who passes, you get to a certain age, I think you just start questioning life. So these panelists were all talking about different reasons that they believe in the afterlife, but about these closed-minded skeptics. These are the people that no matter what you say or do, they are never going to believe, they're never going to buy into it. That's a closed-minded skeptic. So dealing with skeptics, you got to know what kind you're dealing with, you know, and I always say, you don't push your beliefs on anyone. If they come to you or if they start talking about a subject, oh, can I share with you my thoughts? So why is this important, dealing with loving the one you're with? Well, they said that these closed-minded skeptics, what's beneath the closed-mindedness is a fear. Because when you look at the evidence that's out in the world currently, 2024, about our consciousness surviving physical death, it's out there. I think the news channels show you what they want to show you. They might not tell you all the news. You know how there's not very many good news networks, that everything that when we turn on the news, it's always the negative. Well, they're in control of what we see. And there's something going on that the news network will listen to a closed-minded skeptic who hasn't done any research, whether there's an afterlife or not. And it's a human function to be afraid. Also, we need to be accepted. So we don't want to be that person who stands out and looks crazy. We all have that fear. We all want to be loved. We don't want to be outcast. So we might keep our voices and our opinions to ourselves. But isn't it interesting? One of the doctors said that all closed-minded skeptics that go on a journey to look for the evidence of the afterlife, they all end up believing in the afterlife. Those skeptics that are out there, the closed-minded ones that, no, there's no proof of the afterlife, they have not yet done any research. With the latest in near-death experiences and all the research on what's called veridical perception, so many people have had those near-death experiences, but not only has their consciousness left their body, they're able to accurately tell things in the operating room, things in the hallways, things in the hospital. One lady floated above the hospital and she saw a red high-heeled shoe, and certainly somebody went up there and it was there. So our consciousness survives. Now, tying that in with our conversation today, it is a belief between these scientists and these near-death experience experts that consciousness came first. So what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? But consciousness came first, and out of consciousness, and this could be the hereafter. You know, I often say that we're living heaven on earth, that our earth is a duplicate of the spirit world, you know, that came first, then this was designed in its image. But if we're to love the one we're with, that is adding joy, that is adding gratitude, that is looking for the good, like that powerful song by Jason Mraz. And if you've ever done any kind of experiments with gratitude, the more joyful you are, the more positive you are, the more you feel good, the more you acknowledge yourself and others and you look for the good, stuff begins happening in your life. I think if our thoughts and our feelings dictate our energy and our vibration, certainly whatever we put out there comes back. You know, I have an aunt who's extremely negative and all she does is complain. Nobody wants to be around her, God bless her, but all she does is tell you what is the negative going on in her life. And I also know people that have hit rock bottom, but had their family, always looked for the good, always were positive, and good things kept happening. So if our consciousness comes first, and this good feeling is what makes stuff happen in our life, I want to just challenge everybody to look for the good, take the advice of Darren and Mitch, and embrace the good in yourself and others. Human beings are not born to do this. Human beings are designed to look for trouble and look for danger and what could go wrong. So even though we have everything we need, we have clean water, we have clean clothes, we have shelter, we have food on the table, isn't it true that we spend so much time looking for what's wrong? So my challenge to you today is to look for what's right in yourself and what's right in other people, what's right in nature, what's awe-inspiring, what's magical, what's miraculous. We're all on this planet that's hurling around the ever expanding universe. That's exciting stuff. Our planet has got some basic raw materials on it. And out of just those basic raw materials, we're connecting wirelessly on Zoom. We can see each other. I mean, that's mind blowing. Start remembering that attitude of gratitude. Start, if you want to put post-it notes up, just taking that time to be grateful, or make the leaves, like my reading said. Albert Einstein was someone who practiced gratitude. He said he's grateful for this, that, and the other thing over 100 times a day. And look at all the things he accomplished in one lifetime. The thing I want to leave you with is something I had just found on the internet about self-love, because we hear it, right, all the time. Gotta love yourself. How many of us know how to do that? Yeah, we can give ourselves a big hug. We can be gentle on ourselves. And when I talk about what's right, it's also what's right with you. If you get up in the morning and you jot down on a piece of paper some of the things you're most proud of about who you've been in life and who you've been for other people, suddenly that voice that's looking for what's wrong is going to say, oh my gosh, I'm living in a pretty amazing person here, pretty amazing body that's done all of these wonderful things. But I'm just going to read this to you. It's about self-love, because it all starts with us. Learning to love yourself is an important journey that can have a significant impact on your overall well-being and happiness. Here are some tips on your journey of self-love. One is practice self-care. Take care of your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. This can include eating healthily, getting enough sleep, exercising regularly, and engaging in activities that bring you joy. 2, practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding, especially in the difficult times. Acknowledge your feelings and validate them without judgment. 3, challenge negative self-talk. Be mindful of your inner dialogue and work on replacing self-critical thoughts with more positive and affirming ones. Practice self-affirmations to boost your self-esteem. Like I said, look for what's right. Next, set boundaries. Learn to say no to things that do not serve you or align with your values. Establishing boundaries can help you prioritize your needs and your well-being. Number 5, cultivate gratitude. Focus on the positive aspects of your life and practice gratitude for the things that you already have. Keeping a gratitude journal can help shift your focus to the good things in your life. Number 6, surround yourself with positive influences. Spend time with people who uplift and support you. Surrounding yourself with positivity can boost your self-esteem and can help you feel valued. Number 7, pursue your passions. Engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Pursuing your interests can help you build confidence and a sense of purpose. Number 8, seek support. Don't be afraid to reach out for help if you're struggling with self-love. Consider talking to a therapist, counselor, trusted friend, or family member for support and guidance. Oh, I'm going to add one. Number 9, come to our Sunday gathering. Every week we do try to empower each one of us really to live the best life possible and to know that you're loved, not just by us, but each one of us around us has a visible team of supporters through our guides and through our loved ones. So this says, remember, self-love is a journey, and it's okay to have ups and downs along the way. Be patient and kind to yourself as you work on building a deeper sense of self-love and acceptance. So the bottom line to everything that I think all of us have said is look for what's right in others and yourself. And I really do think, with this positive vibration that we send out, if you play along with me this week and have that attitude of gratitude and really feel it, good things are going to happen in your life. I can't wait to hear about it. So, my friends, that concludes the address portion of our Sunday gathering. We're going to move on now to our demonstration of mediumship. And we have the wonderful Mitch Shirley volunteering his time with us again. We love Mitch and his lovely wife, Kath, as well. If this is your first time to the Sunday gathering or you've been with us before, let me just run through how this works. First of all, there are those in our community who will get a reading today. Now, just because they do, it does not mean that your loved ones are not here. You see, Mitch and Darren and myself are 3 representatives of the human world, and that's all of you on the Sunday gathering. We get a handful of folks who are representatives of the spirit world. That's all of our loved ones saying, folks, we are still alive. We haven't gone anywhere. We love you. We are part of your lives, and you're going to see us again. Now, certainly when they go to the spirit world, they continue to learn and grow. They can be their best age, health, height, weight, color of hair, all those good things. But they easily have one foot in our world as well. And they are encouraging us. They're with us. Sometimes they may appear in our dreams. Sometimes it's just a thought comes in out of nowhere, a feeling or a shared experience. Those are all subtle ways they let us know that they're with us. We're grateful for good evidential mediums. What you'll see with Mitch is he will invite, we won't see this, but this is happening, those in the unseen world that wish to work through him on your behalf to do so. Someone will connect with him. They're still people, so they may show Mitch what they look like. They might show them what they did for a living. They may use his memories, his thoughts, his feelings, could be songs, who knows? But they will give Mitch in their own way a description of who they are. You'll hear Mitch give a few initial bits of information about the person that has connected with him. So he'll verbalize that. The spirit people know exactly who's in our Sunday gathering, even if you think you're alone and nobody knows. Oh, yes, they know you're here. So please, if you can understand all the information that Mitch has described about the person in the spirit world that is connecting with him, we want you to press your raise hand button. So you can take this moment, find that raise hand button on your device or your computer, press it and see what happens. It'll go from raise hand to lower hand, raise hand, lower hand. And why that's important is sometimes there's 2 or more people that can take all the initial bits of information. So Mitch will continue working so that we get down to 1 person left with their hand raised. If that ends up being you, I am going to press a special button on my side. You'll get a pop-up on your screen and it'll ask you to unmute yourself. Now, you do not have an unmute feature right now until I press that button, so don't go looking for it. We don't need too much from you if you work with Mitch or any medium. All we need you to do is say yes, no, or I don't know to the information that they give, okay? We want everybody in our Sunday gathering, and especially you, if you work with a medium, knowing that Mitch is working with your friend or loved one, that you didn't volunteer the information. So that's why it's important to just say yes, no, or I don't know. And, you know, Mitch has broad shoulders. As we see, it's okay if you need to say no. It simply means a new opportunity to look at the information that the spirit person is giving. If you pay attention, even if you do not get the reading, those in the spirit world are very tricky. They give often some information that I think we can all pull towards us. So as Mitch, Darren, and I spoke on the same topic, there may be some themes that run through with those in the spirit world. You never know how they work, but it's pretty miraculous. So I think that's it. You know how to use the raise hand button, say yes, no, or I don't know. Yeah, that's it. We like to play a song before our Sunday demonstration. I have another old tune, and this one is by the Turtles. See if you know it. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a wonderful opportunity to just send your thoughts to your loved ones. They're not off somewhere beyond the clouds. The interesting thing about energy is 2 or more forms of energy can be in the same place at the exact same time. So just like our wireless internet is right around us right now. Our loved ones, as we know, energy can never die. They're with us too. So watch the video, talk to your loved ones, and we will be back with Mitch. So here's the old song from, I think, 1967 from the Turtles. That's a happy blast from the past. Now, Mitch, I know you're too young to remember that song.
Oh dear. Yeah, okay. As long as you believe that, that's fine. As we say, our own reality is our own reality. But I'd like to thank both you and Darren for your part of the address, because there's certain aspects that brought up things to me as well. And so that was, I truly appreciate John, and also to say the words of the music. That last one in particular would be a wonderful place. You know, the challenge has always been, can we make heaven on earth? Can we do that? Can we work towards that? So what I am aware of, I am aware of the gentleman, and I'm also aware of a lady, and I'm just trying to just work with them, see whether they come together or whether they are two different people. But I'm going to start with the gentleman who I feel as father. And one of the things that we spoke about, actual using the word, but also the emphasis on, is the opposite of that gratitude, and is that place of fear where we are not able to see a future. And what I'm feeling with this gentleman very much, that towards at the end of his life, I feel that he lived in fear of his passing, and that it was something that was very difficult for him. And there would have been numerous people, and I do feel as though religious people sat with him and spoke to him and explained their understanding, because ultimately that's what it can be. It's their understanding of the passing. Because I do feel as though this gentleman would have had a connection. I do feel as though he would have gone to church at one time quite regular. That was part of his upbringing from when he was smaller. As I said, I'm talking about Dad, and I feel as though in the end, his life, his passing was quite drawn out. But at the end, the last few hours, things change dramatically very quickly. So I'm aware of this drawn out nature within it. And okay, I just said, can I just have something that'll, differentiate you or just make. I feel that he didn't like people who cracked their knuckles. And it's something that he would have the night, stop cracking your knuckles. So whoever it is, I feel as I would have cracked their knuckles.
My goodness. All right. If you can understand all of that information, go ahead and press your raise hand button, please. Mitch, we have 3 ladies with their hands raised.
Okay. But the person that I feel as though I need to, it would have been somebody who would have cracked their own knuckles. And what I'm aware of, making me aware of my own father and me, you see. I used to do it purposefully to annoy him and then make out I wasn't. And that's what I feel the person, the recipient, would have done that, would have purposefully developed their knuckle cracking ability, so as literally they could crack knuckles, joints, elbows, and even knees. That and waggling the ankles around just to crack them as well. I'm aware of just anything that would crack to another.
All right, we have Danya with her hand raised. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Great, thanks.
Don, you understand that with yourself, with this knuckle cracking ability?
I do, and also both of my daughters crack their fingers, and my dad would tell them all the time, please don't do that, don't do that. It irritated him.
Right, okay, that's fine. And you would have done, as a child, would have done it purposely, so it irritated you?
Yes.
Right, okay, that's fine, because I know that I was aware of that with my children do it the same as well. You see, and particular knees, that we have this ability to just swing the knee sideways and it just goes crap.
Yeah, my knees and my ankles too.
Darren's having that, going, oh no, I don't need any more of this, so we'll move on. But I know it's strange how it affects different people in different ways, and the fact, that I'm aware of the feeling that I get from it. I feel it also applies for you, and it's that relief that it gives you. And sometimes the movement and the joints is like a little bit, oh, that feels better, it moves. And I'm aware here that your dad didn't understand a lot of things, and not that there's a distance because of that, but there's like a lack of understanding of things that made sense to you didn't make sense to him. And you were not just different generations, but different people. Would you understand that?
Yes.
Because it's just like, I've got my head around it now, but like as a younger man, he found it really difficult to understand what, and I know we have, male, female and things like that, but I'm aware of this, that for him, there would have been times where he said, I don't understand it. It's not in a nasty way or anything like that, but it's just like, I just don't understand it. And I'm aware of the fact that he's acknowledging with you that you've always had the ability to walk your own path.
Yes, definitely.
And comfortable swimming in the opposite direction to everybody else.
Yes.
You're, I mean, we use all the different terms. You walk to the beat of your own drum, but you have also, the word I've got to use is very honoured that you were his daughter, that you came, because you taught him so many different things. And when I was aware of at the beginning about being fearful, you would understand that about talking to him, but not in a way of telling him what to think. You spoke to him in a way of trying to understand him, so that in his expression, he would get his own clarity. Do you understand that?
Yes, exactly.
Because I know it's important that I bring that up about the being listened to as well. You have the ability to be a great listener. And believe me, in this world, there are not many people who are able to just listen without needing to join into the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wishes to acknowledge that and thank you for the work. You see, the word that's just come forward, and so many people feel as though it's tied in with duty. The word of service.
Mm-hmm.
Word of service to your dad, and how coming to this world and helping him to progress and understand more about himself, as well as you understanding more of yourself, about you. But this fear and this, it's lack of control. For your dad, is somebody he liked to know where things were, and he likes his I's dotted and his T's crossed, and he liked to know when I'm going to go forward. You understand that?
Yes.
But I'm aware that you have a freedom within your spirit, that you can, okay, I can swerve with this, I can roll with this. But I'm aware that recently you felt as though you've not only just swerved with something, that something's nudged you while you're on the swerve, and you've sort of gone further afield, and it's not felt quite right with what's going on. Do you understand that?
Yes, exactly.
Right, okay, because it's trying to find the words to express what he's wanting to get across to me here. But it's very much that you've gone, okay, I can just roll. And within that, you are consciously aware and subconsciously aware of the fear that is possible to take you from your pathway. And what he wants to acknowledge is that he allowed that to happen with him, and he wants you to get back on your track. Okay?
Okay, exactly what I needed to hear.
Your pathway. That's what he wants you to. You know you can trust yourself because you have that understanding of your soul and your soul's purpose. And that's what he wants to acknowledge and salute, because you've not only been service to him, not only in the sense of helping him in certain subjects, but your love and your gratitude is something that he's treasured throughout his physical life, but also throughout the spirit world. And that's important that he acknowledges that now, because there's lots of things that you're about to embark on and that you're about to create, and you've been having these thoughts and you've been, oh, do I? And he just says, just allow your soul to fly. You know you've got this.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much for speaking to me.
Thank you, Danya, and thank you, Mitch, and thank you, everybody, for listening in.
Right. I am aware of a lady. It does feel to me like it's Mum that I have, as I'm aware of this. And okay. She's teasing me now because I had a very lovely lunch and very lovely desserts. Well, two. Way through this. But she's putting a lovely, there's a lovely cake that's being presented. And I feel with this lady that she was literally the epitome of, when we look at like the 1950s of American, the home, the wife who was presented pristine and, you know, done all this cleaning and everything else, and this beautiful dress and, you know, high heels. I mean, I don't know how you climb and dust stuff and do all this thing that these ladies used to do. And created all this domestic goddess. And this I'm aware of, is that was something that she was a part of. She was a part of that generation. As I said, I feel as though it's Mum, but I'm also aware of the fact that she dedicated her time to being at home and to running the home, not with military precision, but I'm aware here that there was a dedication. But then she developed an ability in the second stage of her life to actually go out and have a working career in a later stage of her life. And so she wasn't defined by one thing. That Mum was defined by her attitude of many different things. And I'm also aware of the name of Gloria that would link to, I'm not saying it's her name, but I'm aware of Gloria. And I've also got the beautiful satin gloves. Not my own, if any of you are wondering, but I'm aware she would have worn gloves, and they would have been in beautiful presentation boxes. I feel there was more than one pair of gloves that she had as well.
Thank you, Mitch. All right, who can understand this information? Go ahead and press your raise hand button. We have Jane with her hand raised. Jane, if you could press your unmute button. Hi, Jane.
Sandra. Hi. Hi, Mitch.
Hi, Jane. So you understand this information with Mum?
I do.
Right. Okay, that's fine. Because it was like I needed something else to just define that a little bit, but it was the gloves. It's
But,
like,
yeah, they're gloves, and Gloria connects too.
Brilliant. That's fine, because I know that I needed to present myself to the world the right way. But that I would let anything that was going on behind the scenes in my private life, I would not show that to the world. Once I went through that door, my face was on. Do you understand that with your Mum?
Yes. And she's a private person.
Right. Okay. Because it was just as you defined, I thought, oh, do you not? That's fine. I can go. But as long as you understand that, because obviously I'm trying to give the information, she's relaying it, and because of the fact that she's only going to give me whatever, just enough. Understand that it's, as I said, if she came in another way and given all these personal details and everything, you wouldn't understand it. But I'm aware here that she had this attention to detail. But if somebody came to her with a need of help and support she would be private with their lives as well. You understand that?
Yes, very much so.
I don't want to gossip. I might hear it.
Y-
I'm not interested.
Yeah,
I've got
correct. Yes.
my own life. My children have their own lives, and I want to be there to help people. I don't want to spend my time, when we said within the addresses and that about the not being negative, that was something that your mum tried as much as she could throughout her life to bring positiveness to people.
Yes. Yes.
And there's a gentleness with her as well. She was intensely polite.
Yes. Yes.
And she cost nothing. And it's something that she was proud of, the fact that even at the end of her life, that all of her children and family would still use please and thank you.
Yes.
Yes. They understand how to show respect to people, and that really. And even for your mom, it didn't matter whether somebody had nothing or whether they had everything. It was how they were with her, and she was always the same with others.
100%.
But the reason why she brings that in now is because where you are and what's going on around you, again, she's not letting me in. She's sort of like just cracking the door saying, well, you can hear what's going on, but I'm not showing it yet. But she's saying that for you to move forward in a positive way this year, and that's what she wants for you. She wants you to be able to move into spring and to use that energy that comes with spring to start to allow the freedom that you've had pent up for the last 18 months. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
And she wants you to just slip that coat of winter, of the hard graft, and actually go, no, I'm going to enjoy this sunshine, because your mum loved to be out and about in spring.
Yes. Yeah, when she was younger. Yes.
Aware of being out and just, being around nature and hearing nature and trying to spot birds and mammals scooting about in the trees, and there's just like that, just taking that 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and just you could see, yes, that's what I need to just charge my battery. That's what I need to just enjoy, and that's what she wants as her offer of advice. Okay?
Yep.
Enjoy the little moments and don't. Okay. Someone, and I just got, don't listen to the Pied Piper song. So there's someone around you who you don't want to follow. You don't feel it's right, and other people do. And she says, you stick to what you believe in. You don't follow the Pied Piper, because we all know that. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I think I understand. Yeah.
I know that it came that she wanted to express it in that way. It's about, you can be different. You don't have to follow what everybody else does, because it doesn't, doing it what everybody else does doesn't necessarily fit us and suit us. And everybody else often follows what somebody else believes is right because they're going along with it. Okay?
Yeah.
So you believe that you have the innate ability to fulfill what those dreams were 18 months ago, what you started off, and what you've been working through, and what you've been nurturing. Now is the time coming in for them to start to happen. Okay. And she just wants daffodils as well, and I know these are the big headed ones, which in this country comes out, so I know we're in March now, so I know that there are birthdays that are coming towards the end of the month that she just wanted to acknowledge, and I feel as though it's right at maybe 28th or 29th, something like that, but I'm being drawn to that of birthdays that within March. Okay. And it's important. So do you understand those dates?
I think what it is, first of all, I planted a lot of daffodil bulbs, so they're just starting to come up. And she was a big gardener, and I've been gardening. And so my mom just passed a month ago, and I'm sad because right before she passed, she kept saying, "When's Easter? When's Easter?" So it's March 31st. I remember telling her that. So I think it's connected to that. And I spent last Easter with her.
Okay. Well, I know that as we are in March now. It's a very expensive month for me. My birthday, 3 children, and my wife. So yeah, I have no money. But I'm aware of her just wanting to just get that across. I knew I was being drawn towards the end of March. I know what you've said, but look into the family. I do believe, because she's brought it back to me again, that you will find that there will be birthdays around that time as well. That maybe not of instantly recognizable people, but as you look into the family and the history, things will come. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, and happy birthday to you all.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Mitch.
Right. I am aware of a gentleman coming forward. I do feel, and I also saw the word brother just come there, and as I'm aware of this gentleman, someone must understand that their brother would have liked to watch the old cowboy films, but would have also either had a cabin or had somewhere where they could go, because I just keep being showing this image of chopping wood, but I feel as though it's like out either in the mountains or in woods or forest, but I keep seeing this and I just feel as though it's brother, as I'm aware of it, but this about being able to have this space to go to as well.
Thank you, Mitch. All right, who understands this? Brother, chopping wood, cabin, cowboy, did you say? Those kind of movies?
Yeah, like the cowboys one, and then the
old westerns,
frontier type of films. That's what I was actually seeing. So I felt as though there was an enjoyment of those that type of films, but also this attitude about being out there within the middle of nature was important.
All right, who understands this information? All right. Cindy has her hand raised. Let's bring in Cindy. Cindy, if you can press your unmute button. Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
Welcome.
So, do you understand this information with brother?
I do understand, brother. Yeah, I don't want to say too much. So
that's okay. Yeah. It's because it's just so I'm getting with, because I was aware of these. As I'm working with it, would you understand that your brother would have teased you quite a lot when he was when you were living together in the same house?
Not really.
Right. Okay. Then do you understand that he would have? Because what I was getting was this done about teasing, in particular about hair, and if it's right, Cindy, would you understand you would have had like locks when the spiral type locks? Lots of curls when you were younger?
Not when I was younger, no.
Right, okay. Because that's what I kept saying. And so you said not when younger, then have you had them as you've got older? You've had more longer hair?
There was a time in my life I had longer hair and I had curls in it.
Right, okay. Because I'm just trying to work with him, because can you understand that he would then must have had somewhere where he could go, or he would go to somewhere where there's just this being out in the middle of nowhere and having to look after myself.
I'm sorry, not with my brother.
Right. Okay.
That's more with me.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you for one, because if it is you that I'm with, then I just want to give. What I have, you would understand the name of John. That would link with him and you, and also the surname of Davidson as well.
John, yes. Davidson, no, but my last name is Davis.
Right. Okay. I'm going to undo my cuffs now. You're really getting me, or he's really getting me to work. Would you understand that with your brother, that I have somebody who is not afraid of hard work, hard physical work?
That's true.
Because I know, just as I've rolled my sleeves up, that it didn't matter to me how much work I had to put in, that I was very focused on the fact that if I need or wanted to achieve something, I would do whatever was necessary to achieve that.
I think so.
And I know that as I'm working with him, I could be that single-minded that I would miss, and that my awareness was only fixed on what I was doing, not on actually still being, might be a strange way of putting it, but still being part of this world. So other things, that day-to-day things, he wouldn't be interested in. He would need to focus on what he was after, as a way I've got to put it.
That's probably true. That describes me pretty well too.
Okay. Because I'm aware of the fact that through that dogged determination, and that the fight that was in him, and you know, and when I say about the fight, it doesn't matter whether it's something about somebody being wronged or supporting somebody. If there was somebody who needed help and support and there was a fight on, then he was not somebody who would back away from that situation.
True.
Because that's what I'm aware of with him. The fact that when I said earlier about the different parts of me, he tried to put that person away, but every now and again, as he got older, he just had to return to that, to go, no, I've got to put them boots on again. I've got to lace up, and I've got to work, and I've got to fight, and I've got to, because what is right mattered to him. And it wasn't just about him being right as what he'd said, but it was about what is fair and what is right. That's what mattered to him.
I can see that, and I can also see the opposite of that within him.
Okay. Because I know, this image keeps coming back about this, about chopping the wood, and the fact that it's a physically demanding exercise. But what I'm also aware of the fact is that, as demanding as it is, if we do it too much, it causes us problems. But if we do it just enough, it actually builds us in the physical sense, but also within that confidence and that belief in ourselves of what we can achieve. And the reason why he's bringing this forward is because that's relevant. I know you said that you understand these aspects and these traits within your personality, but he just wanted to come in and support you at this time, because that's a similar situation that you're currently working on.
Yes.
And the reason why I've chose the word, you want it working on, because you're not going to be defeated. Yeah. And as frustrating as it gets, and you might be banging your head against a wall at times, he's like, no, I'll get through this, because I know it's that dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Yes.
That detail always mattered to you, and it also mattered to him. But that's what I need to be sure that I'm concentrating on. Okay, and that's what I wanted to acknowledge there. And also, just wants to give you some tulips. So flowers, and in particular, I'm aware of like a blue, a pink, lemon, and an orange. And those colours are very significant because they're about healing, they're about knowledge, they're about inspiration. But they're also about that emotional love that we have to give as well. And that's important as his mother in Sunday for us here, that he refers to that love that you have. And he acknowledges that you've given that love, even though there have been times when you could have withdrawn it. Right.
That's a good message for me. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. I know that he wanted to get that over with. And also we go into May as well for tulips, and that's important as well. So he just wanted to bring that flower. I'm not a horticulturist. There's only a few months, I know, for flowers. So that's what he's just wanted to just bring that as well. So thank you very much for speaking to me, Cindy.
Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Cindy, and thank you very much, Mitch.
Right, okay.
Time goes by fast, doesn't it? Wow. I just want to let everyone know, both Kath and Mitch, they're mediums, they're tutors, and they're both advanced grief recovery specialists. They're good ones to talk to. They really are. You can find out more about them at thesoultrust.com. Just a few announcements before I pass it over to Darren. First of all, our ongoing classes are happening right now. We got Tuesdays, the history of mediumship with our friend Nick Whittam, and Kath and Mitch are leading our Wednesday and Thursday classes, the structure of a psychic and structure of medium readings. So you can join anytime. You get the replays for the classes you missed, and they are really wonderful. Our tutors, Carrie and Phil and Scott, are away this week, Carrie and Phil this month. So we don't have any new things coming up. We don't have any demonstrations coming up this week. But in April, you can see them live. Scott and Darren, they're going to be in New Orleans, Louisiana, Plymouth, Massachusetts. In July, they'll be in Brighton, England. In November, they'll be in Barlow in the Netherlands. Also, Carrie and Phil, they're going to be in England. They're going to be in Canada, United States. They're heading to New Zealand now, all kinds of good things. You can see everything we have coming up. Go to WeDon'tDie.com, click on the store page. You can also register there for next week's Sunday gathering, which we have our special guest, who I know is here today, Lawrence Sable, will be our guest speaker and our medium. So Lawrence, we're grateful to have you. It'll be at St. Patrick's Day too, so there could be a leprechaun or two that shows up on the screen, and Darren will be with us as well for that. Just a reminder too, on the home base of WeDon'tDie.com, that main screen, you can listen to the last 2 episodes of my podcasts there. Subscribe to them if you like. Also, if you're not already a subscriber and you enter your name and your email address on that front page at WeDon'tDie.com, kind of towards the bottom, it says you get the first few chapters of my book, We Don't Die. The truth is, it's the entire book. Chapter 10 is about grief, and I know that what brings many people to our Sunday gatherings and into our community is having a loved one pass. And that chapter 10 will give you just so many tools to help through the grieving process and help understand grief. So everything is at WeDon'tDie.com. And just a shout out to you wonderful people who have donated to help us on our Sunday gathering and keep it going. You can find out if you wish to donate at the Sunday gathering page at WeDon'tDie.com. So I'm going to pass it over to Darren for some words for the week and also our closing prayer. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Sandra and Mitch. And I just want to go back to something Mitch spoke about earlier in his talk, attitude. Our attitude is our responsibility. It's up to we're in complete control of that. And when we listen back to the talks that we had earlier, how we tackle and challenge things within our own lives are down to our attitude. You know, if something happens, if you get a stumbling block, a hurdle, no matter what it is, if we approach it in a positive way, you know, when you look back after that moment's gone and past, you can look back at what you've learned, how you've grown in a positive. But if we meet that challenge with negativity, it will just drag and drag, and it won't do you any favors, and it'll always be there biting at your ankle. So I love what Mitch said about do everything in a positive way. You know, that's our attitude is completely down to us. There may be negative people around you, but you know what? You can block them out. You can push them to one side. You don't have to allow them to swallow you up. So don't. You know, we are responsible for our own attitude. And we're showing love to UK is Mother's Day, and we are using that day to express our love to our mothers, you know. But for me, why wait? Why wait for that one day of the year to do that? You know, you don't need to. And my advice is don't. For all those that's in your life that you love and you want to express your love to, do it today, because you never know what tomorrow will bring. So don't dwell, don't put off these things till the next day and the next day. Do it today. And that's my advice for you guys, or my words, not advice, my words. Okay, so we'd like to thank our friends, brothers and sisters from within our world for coming here today, united as one, and each and every one of you playing your part in some way to allow this Sunday gathering to take place under the banner of We Don't Die. And to our dear friends, helpers and loved ones of that world we call unseen, we'd like to express our sincere thanks and gratitude for all your words and thoughts that have been expressed through the minds of our workers here today, allowing us all to absorb, to bring us moments of healing, joy and upliftment, and allowing us to be within your company and allowing us to immerse ourselves within that healing balm and that unconditional love, which will be etched in our hearts and minds forever, and allow us to leave this Sunday gathering in a much better place. And would like to thank you for the opportunities that are always presented with us to work with your world and represent your world here today, walking side by side, hand in hand. And we truly hope together we've made a difference within this world. As we leave this Sunday gathering and continue about our own daily lives, we continue to create our own journeys and tread our own pathways, but we continue to go forward, continuing to express our love for all those within our lives today. And we continue to go forward in a positive frame of mind, being thankful for everything that is within our lives and eradicating the negativity of that is not. And as we continue to go forward with this frame of mind and positive attitude, we can continue to do so with the knowledge and understanding that you continually walk by our side, day by day, hand in hand, continuing to guide, help, and inspire us to truly be the best individual that we can be. And we continue to go forward in our truth that love and life are both eternal. So as we leave this Sunday gathering, we ask once again for that healing balm and healing light to shine to all four corners of our world, to bring that joy, that love, and that happiness to all those hearts and minds that may be in need on this day. Until we meet again, my friends. Amen.
Thank you so much, Darren. And thank you, Mitch, and everyone at home and our friends in the spirit world. There's somebody who sings a beautiful song that just ties up what a wonderful world it is. So let's pass it over to Mr. Louis Armstrong. All right, everyone. We love you. We thank you. We'll see you next Sunday, if not before. Have a great rest of your day. Happy Mother's Day. Bye, everyone.